Hind. As we were at the middle of our discussion with Sri Obhijit Roy regarding the great escape of Subhash Chandra Bose, Subhash Chandra put the nation above everything else from the very beginning of his political career, and surely this made him the unique and unparalleled leader of all time in world history. He was unique in his political maturity, he was unique in his leadership qualities, and he was unique in his patriotism. Unlike almost all the national leaders of then India, Subhash Chandra was determined to take the maximum advantage of the Second World War to achieve the liberation of India. After various ups and downs, after various ups and downs, finally he planned to go outside the nation to start the final war of independence as a part of the Axis power, and he started his journey towards his aim on the midnight of 16th and 17th of January 1941. Today, we will listen from Sri Obhijit Roy about the Great Escape in our sixth session of Vartalap just after 79 years of the when the Great Escape took place.
Yes, Jai Hind and good afternoon, Adrija and Anushka, both of you, and to the viewers. As you have mentioned, Anushka, today is an auspicious day because on this 16th of January 1941, the Great Escape started. If you follow the English calendar, it will be 12 something a.m. of 17th January. But according to the Bengali and our Indian, belief, the day does not start till there is a sunrise. It was before sunrise, so according to the Indian rules, we can say, Indian calendars, we can say it was 16 January, little after midnight. So as we have seen, as I have spoken my earlier episodes, all arrangements were done. Everything was done. Only thing they were waiting was a green signal from Mia Akbar Shah, and also Netaji was also needing some money. Well, Sarath Chandra Bose had given a lot of money, but Netaji at times he wanted to see how many well-wishers he had. So he wanted other people also to arrange for a little bit of money. He didn't say that he is going out, but he said, I need some money. Now, ultimately, the green signal arrived from the Northwest Frontier Province. Now, in the meantime, as I have told in my last episode, Shishir Kumar had gone to Barari, and from Barari, along with the family, his mother, Vibhavati, and other members or children of the family, they had come back by road from Barari to Calcutta, so that Shishir Kumar could read out the milestones in daytime of the road from Barari to Calcutta, as he was supposed to come back by the same route at night. So remembering these milestones are very important when you drive in a road, so that you don't waste unnecessarily time, or don't just have to stop the car and ask somebody at the night that which way I should go, or which way is Barari and all that. So it was very, very necessary to know the road well, from Calcutta to Barari via Dhanbad. And Subhash Chandra Bose also, it was decided that he would be leaving in the guise of a North Indian Muslim or a Pathan. And that is why he had taken the disguise as Muhammad Ziauddin, a traveling insurance inspector of an insurance company with permanent address with civil lines, Jabalpur. Everything was in order. So, in order to see that this disguise is perfect, at time, Subhash Chandra used to wear all the dresses, including the face cap, the black face, and stand before the mirror inside the room and minutely watch himself to see that if the disguise is perfect or not, or whether it will be rather difficult to recognize him in the disguise when he goes out at night by anybody or by somebody. So this rehearsal was going on. He was repeatedly asking his nephews and nieces like Dijendranath Bose, Aurobindo Bose, Ila Bose, who were staying there, how do I look? Can you recognize me? Can anybody recognize me? Because there was a sort of an excitement running within him also, as he was going out in a very secret but a very brave mission outside India. Now, it was time enough to go, and Netaji asked Dijendranath that you arrange for some money. So in the meantime, through Dijendranath, a substantial amount of money was arranged by two men who were very close to Netaji. One was Dr. Debesh Mukherjee, another one was Dr. Manmohan Das. Now, I would like to give a brief introduction of this Debesh Mukherjee. 1938, when Subhash Chandra Bose was elected the president of All India Congress Committee, or Rashtrapati of All India Congress Committee, many of you know that he has sent a medical mission to China under Dr. Kotnis. Kotnis was the leader of this medical mission, where this Dr. Debesh Mukherjee was one of the members. Now, before leaving for China, Netaji had given a very secret letter to Dr. Debesh Mukherjee. This letter was addressed by Netaji to none other than Mao Zedong, the Chinese leader who was fighting against Chiang Kai-shek. And Debesh Mukherjee, he took that letter, managed to meet Mao Zedong secretly and delivered that letter of Subhash Chandra Bose to Mao Zedong. Many people do not know about this, but there was a connection between Subhash Chandra Bose and Mao Zedong. Why? Now, in those days in India, the communists or the leftists, they always followed some other country's paths. Like they were following the Moscow line. Okay. Now, this thing Subhash did not like. He said that when we attain freedom, our freedom should be according to our heritage, our culture, and our own decision. Yes, our freedom will come definitely in a leftist way, where we are asking for Purna Swaraj or complete independence. but we must not forget our heritage. Subhash Chandra Bose was also a very ardent follower of Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev. Today, Swami Vivekananda is considered to be a Hindu monk by many people. I contradict them, and I totally think that Swami Vivekananda was not a Hindu monk only, but he was a revolutionary hermit. Why I am saying this? Because Swami Vivekananda once said that say all the Indians are my brother. The low caste cobbler, the low caste Chandal, he is my brother. That means Vivekananda, he propagated for a classless society. Number one. Number two, in one of his thoughts, Vivekananda has expressed,
Absolutely.
I see my future India like this. My future Indian should have the wisdom, my future India should have the knowledge of a Brahmin, the wisdom of a Vaishya, the gallantry and vigor of a Kshatriya, and the working ability of a Shudra. The combination of these four collective good things will be my future Indian or my future Bharatvasi. Vivekananda was a revolutionary hermit, that's why I say, not only a Hindu monk who used to respect the other culture. He used to say that if somebody hates a religion other than his own, the religion of that person is a vague religion. We must have equal respect for every religion. And he wanted a classless society in India. That is what Subhash Chandra wanted also. Purna Swaraj means complete freedom. Freedom politically, freedom economically, and freedom socially, which till today India has not achieved. So, in that particular aspect, he was very happy to see that Mao Zedong was leading a revolution in China, which is totally different. Because we must not forget that after the Chinese Revolution, Mao Zedong, he did a cultural revolution. Now, what was this cultural revolution? The cultural revolution was not to induce a foreign culture in China, but to revive the old culture without its superstition. To revive the old cultures of China, cutting out or leaving out its superstitions. Because China was a country where we had several superstitions. We had several temples, several gods, goddesses. We must not forget that. And this remolding of the people in a socialist way was done by Mao Zedong. So, Netaji liked that. And therefore, he had established a contact with Mao Zedong through Dr. Devesh Chandra. That is off the track. This was during the war between Japan and China also, as you all know. Netaji did not hesitate at that time to criticize Japan, because to him, Japan was backing the Chiang Kai-shek administration. And they were going against the principle of people like Sun Yat-sen or his wife. His wife was captured by the Japanese forces, Sun Yat-sen's wife. So these were the things Netaji believed, and he never hesitated in putting forward his own viewpoints, particularly. Now,
and he probably wanted to see the Asians united for themselves.
exactly, Asians unite for themselves and let the Asians build their own countries according to their own choice, not influenced by any foreign country, whether it is a democratic country or whether it is a leftist country. Their democracy or their leftist government or left inclination towards building up a government should be according to their own culture, according to their own heritage. That is why while he was a trade union leader, he had criticized the Communist Party of India's trade union wing, that they are not doing this right. They are always looking up to Moscow. This is not good. And that is why I believe was the main reason that these Communist Party of India leaders at that time, United Communist Party of India, must have complained about Subhash Chandra Bose to Stalin and other communist leaders. And for that, there was a misunderstanding. And so from Kabul, when he left Kabul with a Russian visa and stayed in Moscow for about 15 days, none of the political leaders, none of the communist leaders of Russia, Soviet Russia came and met him. Maybe that is the reason. That is my speculation. Historians to give the right attitude on that particular aspect. But it is fact that the communist leaders of India, because of these reasons, they were not satisfied with Subhash. Now, this Devesh Mukherjee later on became a member of the All India Youth Committee, the All India Youth League, and later he was imprisoned by the British, being a member of the All India Youth League, of which Dijendranath Bose was one of the members. Now, the other members of the family, let me remind you, and Subhash Chandra's friends and political well-wishers, beforehand they knew that he was very sick. For that reason, family members and well-wishers used to visit him in his room to inquire about his welfare. The doctors sometimes used to come from outside. Now, it was decided to put a restriction on these visits. So a plan had to be chalked out. Subhash Chandra announced that he will start a meditation in isolation inside the room, and no outsiders will be allowed in the room henceforth. Obviously, the presence of outsiders would disturb his meditation. And that is why 2 thick curtains were hanged at the 2 doors of his room, because no activities inside the room was allowed to be seen from outside. He started his so-called meditation, quote unquote. And the cook in the house who used to cook the food for Srimati Vibhavati Devi, Netaji's mother, you know, on those days, the widows, particularly the elderly widows, had a lot of restriction regarding food. They used to take vegetarian food, all right, but at the same time, they used to take a little separate food than the cooked vegetarian dishes. The cooking was done in a very simple way, without giving much spices to that, and they used to have some, cottage cheese, sweet meat, like this. and fruits also. So that cook was told that as Ranga Kaka Babu is on a meditation in isolation, you will be cooking the food for Subhash Chandra Bose. And he was directed to push that plate of food or thali of food from below the curtain to the room without entering the room. Subhash Chandra was supposed to have that just in time and push the thali outside below the curtain. The cook used to take them. That was one arrangement done. Now, who will be allowed? Who will be allowed inside? Number one person who will be allowed was Ila Bose. Because Ila Bose used to look after that if he has taken his food properly or not, and used to give the medicines to his uncle. Okay. Now for Shishir Bose, the excuse had already been done that he would come in the evening and tune in the foreign radio stations which no other person could do in the family. And Aurobindo and Dijen, they were told to restrict their entry into the room unless and until it is very, very urgent, and to do their jobs outside. Now, what was this job? One particular job was their uncle had directed him, take a bottle of oil and put it in the pockets of your kurta. Whenever you go out and come in, pour the oil at the joint of that big iron gate, main iron gate, so that while opening it or closing it, there is no squeaking sound. And accordingly report to them, report to him. All the three were told to report to him about the guards who were sitting outside. What is the activity of the guard in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and dead at night? So accordingly, these three nephews, Shishir Bose used to come and go away. His main job was the next day to report to his uncle that while he was entering 38/2 Elgin Road, what was the activity of the guards he saw, and when he was going out, what was the activity? Was there a change? Aurobindo and Subhash, Dijendranath, they watched the guard throughout the day. I mean, it was a counter-vigilance on the guards who were guarding the Bose family, both the houses, and were watching the family members very closely, including Subhash. So it was a counter-vigilance type of thing. On that particular day, it was decided, 16th of January was selected as a day when Muhammad Ziauddin alias Subhash Chandra Bose would leave 38/2 Elgin Road in the German Wanderer car, driven by Shishir Kumar. Now, at that time, the house, one should realize, only Subhash Chandra Bose and his mother Prabhavati Devi, Prabhavati Bose, used to stay on the second floor of the house. Rest of the family members used to stay on the second floor. So it would be better to leave the house where his mother in this first floor and all the members, family members on the second floor would take rest or in faster sleep. So it was decided that they will be leaving at night after everybody has slept. Okay. Now, Shishir Kumar, as usually, he packed the suitcase and attaché case silently in advance at One Woodman Park with the things he brought earlier, and put both the luggages in advance at the dicky of the Wanderer car. And he, in the evening, as usual, drove the car to 38/2 Elgin Road. Only two other members residing at One Woodman Park knew where Shishir was going. It was his father, Sarat Chandra Bose, and his mother, Vibhavati Bose. Now, some of the family members in One Woodman Park, some of the employees of Sarat Chandra Bose may be a bit inquisitive. If they come to know about Shishir's absence the next day or for 2 days, and in medical college colleagues or medical college students, his friends, may come and inquire about him. So a plan was made. Shishir is leaving Calcutta because Srimati Mira Bose, the wife of Dr. Ashoknath Bose, is a bit indisposed. The doctors are attending to them, and Shishir, as a medical student, is sent there by Sarat Bose so that he can go, and the next day morning he can just send a telegram from Barari that my sister-in-law is much better now, nothing to worry about. So this was a plan made at One Woodman Park. And some other plans were made at 38/2 Elgin Road. Shishir was started. The luggages were at the dicky of the Wanderer. He quietly entered 38/2 Elgin Road and parked his car right in front of the rare staircases, which were generally used by servants and domestic helps. He came up the first floor, the room, got into the dip. He saw that Ila was packing some warm clothes inside the holdall, along with the quilts and the bed sheets. And after it has been packed, Aurobindo rolled that holdall and tied it up. Present generation, as I believe, they have not seen about the holdalls, but we are very acquainted with the holdalls when we used to travel. Those holdalls always carried the blankets, bed sheets, which was put in the train compartment for us to sleep, particularly during our long train journeys during winter time. So that holdall was there along with this. Tejendranath Bose was not in the room at that time because he was given some other work. He was on the second floor as usual to see that all the other members have gone to bed, number one. And number two, to see the activities of the guards outside 38/2 Elgin Road and give a clearance by clearing his throat, like like this. Clearing, he would give a clearance that everything is all right. That was the green signal. So he was not there. He came in later on. Now, Subhash Bose, yeah. I don't hear you. What was happening? Muhammad Ziauddin was dressing. Now, after watching, the meantime, Dijendranath was watching from the second floor. He had intended that he will go to sleep, go to bed with other members. When the other members has gone to bed, he peeped from the upper balcony and saw that the guards outside 38/2 Elgin Road, it was a cold night, and they saw that the guards were dozing off. As every member was fast asleep, the dead of the night, winter night, the guards were dozing off. And he further looked up at the crossing of the Woodburn Road and Elgin Road, where he saw the guards. They were wrapped up in blankets, sitting on the benches and dozing. So he made a clearance gave a green signal by clearing his voices and slowly came down. Now, Dijendranath Bose and Subhash Chandra Bose, they almost had the same physical structure. Okay. Now, the flannel shirts which were brought by Shishir Bose was packed inside the suitcase. Ought to wear. So Dijendranath, Subhash Chandra Bose wore a kurta or a shirt, full sleeve shirt of Dijendranath Bose and a pajama. And over that, he wore a sherwani. Okay. The sherwani he wore like where the Muslims wear, and that face cap which was brought to him earlier. So he was looking perfectly like a Pathan. Now another problem arises that Kabuli sandal, which was bought for him specially, that Kabuli sandal won't fit in his feet. So an old hunter boot which was lying for many days but was intact. Subhash wore that foot. Nobody in the house knew that he had that hunter boot. It was lying somewhere in the corner of the rack below the almirah. Okay. And before departing, he asked everybody, how do I look? Dijendranath commented, you should change your old specs. The black, what do you call that? That frame, the black frame. The gold, the round frame, the Gandhi style frame, which they used to wear in those days. Now the black frame is the old one. Don't wear it. So Dijendranath asked Ila, is there anything else? Dijendranath opened the almirah. Ila Bose opened the almirah, took out old golden framed spectacles, which he wore when he was in Calcutta Corporation and in AICC. So he said, you wear this. Subhash Chandra wore that and said, the vision is a bit hazy. But he respected the opinion of the others present there and agreed by seeing himself in the mirror that with this golden frame specs, it has also changed his attire from the original one to a greater extent. Now this particular frame was used, the spectacle was used by Subhash Chandra Bose himself when he was the Chief Executive Officer of Calcutta Corporation in 1924. And that was 1941, 17 years later. Obviously, you'll see a little bit hazy, but fortunately, that haziness won't matter. Is going around or walking. So 16 January 1941, the clock touched 12:30. Midnight was past. That means officially it was 17 January according to the English calendar. Shishir Bose came out of the room and walked usually towards the rear staircase, because during night the door of the main staircase used to be closed and locked. Shishir Bose walked usually, and behind him Aurobindo Bose, without any shoes and with a holdall on his shoulders, he walked very quietly. Lastly came out Subhash Chandra Bose, alias Muhammad Ziauddin, with the shoes on his hands, so that there is no sound of the two shoes. Shishir Bose and Subhash, no sound of the two shoes. He got himself very close to the wall of the veranda, so that the sunlight which was coming and covering 1/3 of the veranda, there people may not see his image, either from downstairs or from anywhere from the nearby houses.
The street light, Mishmashi.
Yeah. It was absolutely a foolproof plan. All the three came out, alighted from the rear stairs. Aurobindo quietly put the holdall at the front door through the open window pane of the car. Shishir Bose got into the driver's seat. Slowly, Subhash Chandra Bose got into the rear seat of the car, and he held the door, did not bang it closed, because there should not be two sounds of the car banging. Aurobindo Bose walked swiftly towards the gate, opened the gate, and the German wanderer zoomed past 38/1 Elgin Road. Instead of going on the left side, it went on the right side, because everybody knew that Shishir Bose is heading towards his home, which is on the right side. Immediately turning on the right side, the car turned on the right side again at a road called Allenby Road. Went straight, and from a crossing turned left towards Justice Chandramadhav Road. Came down to Lansdowne Road. Today that road is named as Sarad Bose Road. Went up to Minto Park, which is Shahid Bhagat Singh Uddan today. Turned right, took the lower circular road, which is now known as Acharya Prafulla Chandra Ray Road, and straight drove towards Sialda station. And on those days, there was no flyover in Sialda. Okay, so right in front of Sialda was Harrison Road, which is now named as Mahatma Gandhi Road. The car turned left, took the Harrison Road, straight went to Howrah to Bada Bazar. It got into the Howrah Bridge, crossed the Howrah Bridge, entered the Howrah station, and took the industrial road of Lilua and Bali and Belur, and ultimately came down to GT Road. The road there was very bumpy because it's an industrial area, no? And the road was very bumpy. But they preferably took that road because there was another road through Bali Bridge near the Dakshineshwar temple. That was a comparatively better road. But at the Bali Bridge, there was a check post where the guards would come very near to the car to note down the number of the car at night. And they may ask the driver to come down or the passenger to come down to ask certain questions. So that was to be avoided. So this bumpy Howrah road, industrial road, was taken. Ultimately, the car came to GT Road and it moved towards Burdwan. Now the road, this road particularly had many turnings, the road from Calcutta to Burdwan. So he was maintaining a moderate speed in the car because there had no lot of ups, lot of turnings there. So he was maintaining a normal speed there, a medium speed. Subhash Chandra actually, he was sitting in the rear seat. So Shishir Kumar told him that why don't you have some sleep? Subhash Chandra said no. If the co-passenger in a car sleeps, the driver's concentration is bound to be distracted. So let us have some dialogues. So Subhash Chandra Bose started a dialogue with his nephew about his experience of a long drives he had had during his political career in India. Just to break the monotony of his nephew driving quietly, he was in a very low tone explaining his experiences of the long drives which he had had in India while going to political meetings from one place to the other. And sometimes it was night they used to make the travels. Niece Ela Bose had filled up a thermos flask full of coffee. Winter night, to be consumed during this cold winter night. Once the car was halted in a railway level crossing for some times, Subhash Chandra poured some hot coffee for his nephew, and both enjoyed the coffee while engaging themselves in a low-tone conversation. Now, one particular important incident is to be mentioned here. Shishir Kumar was then a student of medical college, as I told you. His absence from his medical classes for a couple of days may arise some questions, which I told you earlier. So that plan of his sister-in-law's indisposed was made already. And Shishir was instructed to send a telegram from Barari that his sister-in-law or Bhabiji or Baudidi is much better now, not to worry, to his father. Okay. Now, the journey continued. And slowly, around a little after sometimes, they crossed Burdwan. because it took a little time because the medium speed had to be maintained. Now, once they crossed Burdwan, the road was straight, and Shishir increased the speed of the car. It zoomed past the road, and in no time, at around 4 o'clock, after the car reached Burdwan, in no time, it crossed Durgapur. At that time, Durgapur was full with jungle, and it was famous for its dacoity and burglary. So they passed that dreadful place also, and by next early morning, they were approaching Asansol. And when they had crossed Asansol, there was more or less daylight was coming in. Subhash Chandra Bose handed over a Kashmiri cap to Shishir and told him to wear that cap. Because, if you wear a cap, your facial, your face looks a little different from a distance. There's a change. So that Kashmiri cap, he gave it to his nephew. Shishir wore it and continued his driving. They passed Gorakot, passed the river, came back very near to Dhanbad. Now the Grand Trunk Road leading to Dhanbad has a place called Govindapur before Dhanbad. Now there is a check post at Govindapur where the road is blocked by a bamboo gate, which can be lifted up and then brought down. Car had to be stopped there. Can't help. And that made Subhash a little nervous because he was anxious. But Shishir Kumar assured him that while in several journeys from Kolkata to Barari and back, he has seen this. It is a ritual, normal thing when a man comes out and notes the number of the car. So both, after the bamboo gate was lifted, once again, Shishir drove the car quite fast and they were on their way to Barari. Now, in Barari, in that particular institute where Dr. Ashok Bose was employed, they had similar type of bungalows, And the bungalow beside Dr. Ashok Nath's bungalow, a European officer used to stay there. It had to be perfect, absolutely, where to reach. Shishir Bose knew the house. From about 400 yards from the house of Dr. Ashok Nath Bose, stopped the car and showed Shishir Kumar and showed Subhash the road. And you come slowly, don't have to wait. I am driving the car. As Subhash Chandra Bose alighted from the car, Shishir drove in a full speed and entered the bungalow of his elder brother, Dr. Ashok Nath Bose. Quickly, he went inside and told his brother that Ranga Kaka Babu was on his way. Now look at the secrecy of the travel. Even Dr. Ashok Nath Bose did not know. He knew his Ranga Kaka his uncle will be coming, but he did not know about the exact date. He said about two things, that he'll be coming as an insurance agent and the sister-in-law Meera Bose should not know that who the guest is coming. Because till then, Meera Bose did not know anything about the Great Escape. So after a while they were talking, a domestic help came with a card printed as Muhammad Ziauddin. Okay. Ashok said that, tell him to sit at the veranda because there was some chairs were laid there. and I'll come. So as he came out, he saw a Pathan, a Western Muslim, dressed accordingly in a sherwani and face cap with the attaché in his hand. He bowed and said, Adab to Ashok Nath, and introduced himself as Muhammad Ziauddin, a traveling insurance inspector. They were talking in English so that no domestic help could understand what they were talking. Now, in his memoirs, Dr. Ashok Nath has said that I've come across my uncle so many times. I've seen him face to face. But at first glance, I could not recognize him. I started questioning, is he really my uncle Subhash? But later on, he could realize, as he was in a dialogue with him, the thing was so perfect. So Muhammad Ziauddin said that he introduced himself and said that he has got some good scheme for the officers of this industry and would like to discuss and keep some papers with Ashok Nath so that he can discuss it with other officers too. Dr. Ashok Nath said, I don't have time now because I'm proceeding towards my factory. I have to be there. I'm already a bit late. You please come in the evening. So the gentleman said that I'm absolutely new to this territory, sir, and I do not know anybody here. I would like to catch the night train from here to go elsewhere. I have appointments there too. So if you don't mind, can I sit on your veranda for the whole day? And once you come back from your work, we can just talk and I can leave immediately. Ashok Nath said, no. Why should you wait in my veranda? After all, you are also a man of dignity. You are doing an important job. Okay, please come and sit down in my sitting room. So he invited the stranger to the living room, to the sitting room, and told the domestic help to give him a cup of tea and some snacks. Okay. Now, as both of them were discussing or talking to each other, Shishir casually entered the room, as if to see that who has come, let's see. A little bit inquisitiveness. And Ashok Nath Bose introduced his younger brother to the stranger. Shishir did not show much interest, and he went out. Ashok Nath called that domestic's help and said, open the guest room, make an arrangement for the stay of this stranger, and please see that his food, afternoon lunch, is served inside the room only. And he bade goodbye to the stranger and went out and went to his office. Now, when he came back in the afternoon for lunch, he did not bother to meet the stranger because he would have his lunch and immediately go for his work. But while all the three were sitting in the dining table to have lunch, Mira Bose told them that a Muslim domestic help who was there in Dr. Ashok Nath's house, he had told his Malkin that the guest who is there in the guest room seems to be a sophisticated Muslim. In other words, he said that वो तो एक खानदानी Muslim लगते हैं. By his way of talking, by his postures, by his behaviors. Now, by listening to this, both Shishir Kumar and Dr. Ashok Nath, they felt highly relieved that the makeup and the acting of their uncle has fooled a Muslim domestic help who has said to his Malking that it is a God's blessing, it is Allah's blessing that I have got the opportunity to serve this Khandani Muslim. So this was actually the thing which happened. So
that was true indeed.
That was true.
It was God's blessing that was God's blessing that he could serve.
Exactly. So this particular aspect.
That person, indeed.
Yeah. Now, after in the evening, when Dr. Ashok Nath, he came back from work, he asked the domestic help to call the stranger or the guest in the veranda so that he can have a talk. So the talk was going on in a very low tone, that too in English, so that people would understand that the insurance agent is trying to explain certain, insurance policies to Ashok Nath. He was also showing some papers and all that. These are false papers, of course. So, a sophisticated and educated Pathani was accepted by the domestic help, and even Dr. Ashok Nath's chauffeur or driver, who was also present there, later on he had told Ashok Nath that the guest who had come to a place and stayed for just a day seemed like a very sophisticated or Khandani Muslim. So he had to learn something. Now, particularly, they sat down, they started discussing. Just a minute. I lost something. Yeah. So they started, and Ashok said that from where are you going to catch the train? 2 chairs were placed adjacently. They were talking in a very low tone. Well, Subhash Chandra said that the main plan is to catch the train from Asansol. Ashok Nath advised, why are you catching the train from Asansol? Asansol is a divisional headquarters of railways. It is always crowded with the presence of railway police and other police and even intelligence branch. If somebody recognizes you, why take this risk? Although his domestic helps had stamped him as a Khandani Musliman, still, why keep a doubt in the mind? So he said, instead, why don't you catch the train from Gomo? Because the train arrives in Gomo after midnight. And Gomo itself is a deserted station. And at night, there'll be hardly any people there. So you can catch the train from Gomo. So Subhash Bose agreed. Okay, as you say, that's a good idea. See, here is the thing where he used to take in confidence his youngers also. When Dijendranath Bose suggested that he should change his, he changes spectacles, he agreed to that. Now, one thing I have forgotten here, it is worth mentioning with the sentiments. When he left 38/2 Elgin Road, he took himself two personal things. One was a gold wristwatch presented to him by his mother, Prabhavati Bose, and other one was a golden fountain pen presented to Subhash by his political guru, Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das. These are the only two personal things, apart from the hunter shoes he was wearing that earlier told you. He didn't carry any of his belongings to fool the British intelligence, because all other things were bought from outside. The warm clothes were under the, was with Bibhavati Bose, which was sent phase by phase along with the hold all to 38/2 Elgin Road. So only personal thing he carried close to his heart, very sentimental, was the wristwatch presented to him by his mother, Prabhavati Bose, and the fountain pen presented to him long back by his political guru, Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das. So accordingly, Shishir was told that you drop uncle at Gomo. Now Shishir said, I do not know the road from Barari to Gomo. So it will be very difficult for me to drop uncle without asking anybody on the road in which way is Gomo and all that. And that will be quite risky, I believe. So for an uninterrupted drive, I need a guide. So he requested his elder brother, Dr. Ashok Nath, Dada, you come with me. But on those days, what happened is at night, the servants, after working, they used to retire in their allotted outhouse, which was called, which was pretty far away from the house. And in those days, in a place like Bihar, a remote place, it was very risky to keep a woman alone in the house. So Dr. Ashok Nath had his limitation. He accordingly told this to uncle. I can go, but I cannot leave Meera behind. I have to take her along with me. And he assured that if we tell Meera, then she will keep this as a secret all through her life about your identity. After getting the assurances from both the nephews, Subhash Chandra agreed, okay, Dr. Ashok Nath and his wife Meera Bose will accompany them, and told the brothers, don't say anything to Meera now. Whatever thing has to be said, I will talk to her inside the car. And accordingly, Dr. Ashok Nath told the domestic help that please serve the dinner to the guest in his room, as he'll be leaving very shortly, and ask the domestic help to serve their dinner also. So after all four had finished the dinner, Ashok Nath told the domestic helps that you finish up your dinner and go, because we have to proceed to a party. And in front of them, the visitor, he bade goodbye to his host, thanked him several times for being so kind enough to give him, to allow him to stay in his house for the whole day. And he started walking towards the taxi stand of Barari, from where he would get a taxi and go to the railway station, nearest railway station, to catch a train, a night train. So after about half an hour, Shishir Kumar, Dr. Ashok Nath, and Meera Bose, they got into the car and they drove outside. And they picked up their uncle, alias Muhammad Ziauddin, from the road. Now, Meera Bose was a bit surprised. Why Shishir is offering him a lift? As Subhash Chandra opened the door and sat beside Shishir, who was driving. After a little while, he turned around and said, told Uma, can you recognize me in Bengali? Boma, amake chinta paccho? Meera Bose was startled. Bole, Ranga Kaka Babu. Then for the whole journey, as I've heard from my auntie, he started telling one thing repeatedly. That leave about me. What has happened to me will happen. What has to happen to me will happen. But if you accidentally tell anybody about this secret journey, the life of your husband and your brother-in-law will be in danger. And they will be imprisoned by the British Empire. It may be so that they will be hanged. According to oath of the secrecy, Meera Bose never told this to anybody in the family. She had regretted on one thing. Once her mother, who was a resident of Patna, on my auntie's visit to Patna once, her mother has asked her, what happened to your uncle-in-law? Any clues you got from a family? To what that my auntie said, how can I know? I don't have these discussions with my father-in-law or mother-in-law. How can I know? My auntie said that was the first time I lied to my mother. I told my mother a lie. So this was Meera Bose's experience, that I had to tell a lie to my family, to my mother. And in the family, sometimes when she used to go to Calcutta, when there were discussions going on in between the family members, automatically this question will rise. Where can uncle go? Ranga Kakababu kothay gale? My auntie used to say, whenever this discussion used to crop up, she used to run away from that particular group, by which some of the other, some of the other excuses. Like she has to see if her daughter is sleeping or not, or is she awake, and this, that, and all that. Some of the other excuses she used to leave. She used to tell me that I had to do this because I was always very afraid that in a slip of tongue, if I say something, I shall be breaking my oath. So this is the oath of secrecy which was taken by each and every member of the Bose family. Till the time the war was over, everything was over, and till the time there was no fear of the British Empire, the British intelligence, to pounce upon them and to arrest them. And as far as my auntie was concerned, she had kept this promise all along. Only when in All India Radio this particular thing was described or focused in somewhere in 1960s, then only after that meeting with hundreds of requests from our side, our auntie spoke about her role in the Great Escape. She was not very serious about, she never used to discuss all these things, never used to take any undue advantage or, get some praises from the family members.
Credit.
Friends and members. He always used to be, I don't know much about. But in our persistence, she had spoken these things and told about her role and her oath of secrecy. Now, a little while they went ahead, and the car was stopped under a tree a few yards from the Gomo station, because there was still some time for the train to come. Now, there, Subhash gave some instruction to Shishir that already I have said to Dijendro, Ila and Aurobindo, you go and remind them once again that till 26th of January, the secret of my escape should be kept as a secret. And I've instructed Aurobindo, Dijendro and Shishir to do accordingly. What? To eat my food, to use my toilet, so that rest of the members of the family and the people outside know that I'm still inside that room of 38 by 2 Elgin Road. The why 26th? Because as we have already, I believe I have already said earlier, after Subhash Bose was released from the jail and kept interned in the house, the two cases which were going on, British did not withdraw those cases. One at Bangshal Court and one at Alipur Court. So on that particular day, there was a date of his physical presence. The magistrate had told it clearly that further no medical certificate will be allowed. Subhash Chandra Bose has to be physically present, has to be brought to the court, even if it is required in an ambulance. So he had to appear. So that's why it was decided that 26th was a Sunday, 27th was a Monday at that time, 1941 January, and the news will be broken out in the morning time, afternoon time, morning of the 26th January, and accordingly on the next day the news will come out in the newspaper, and it will be easier for the Defence Counsel of Subhash Chandra Bose to show those papers to the Honorable Magistrate and say that this is the reason Subhash Chandra Bose could not be present in the court. Okay. And he then told in a nutshell about his idea. What will he do? He said, I intend to get out of the train. He was catching the Delhi Kalka mail, going up to Delhi. Right? I think it will be better for me to get down in a station earlier to Delhi, through which the frontier mail passes. Because he was from Delhi, he was supposed to catch the frontier mail and go to Peshawar straight. From Peshawar, he was planning to go to Kabul. And from Kabul, he would escape in Europe. This was his original plan. So in a nutshell, he told, not in details, because he also did not know that what was awaiting for him at Northwest Frontier Province. So he told, this is the main year, and I will try my best to send a messenger who will be giving you my news of departing Kabul. He did that later on. Now, while sitting inside the car, that Subhash Chandra said that it is better for all of you now to keep your oath of secrecy and also to see that the activities inside Bengal, like the activities of the All India Youth League and etc., would go on as usual. So these things happened for a few time, and when the time of the arrival of the train neared, the car once again proceeded towards Gomo railway station. And it went past the Gomo railway station, and the car was halted a little bit ahead of the Gomo railway station, so that nobody could see Subhash Chandra Bose getting out of the car and going inside the Gomo station. Subhash Chandra got down. His luggages were brought down there. He went alone with his luggage. Probably he had called a coolie after that, and he disappeared. He turned around for a second and told the two nephews and one niece-in-law, I'm off to my voyage. You go back. আমি আমার উদ্দেশ্যে চললাম, তোমরা ফিরে যাও. This was the last word the three members of the Bose family heard from their uncle and their uncle-in-law. The car waited there for some time, and they heard the train arriving with a thundering sound. After some time, they heard the whistle of the engine, and they saw that a light, the garland of light moving forward. Train is leaving. The train left. It was all quiet once again. They waited for some time just to get sure that their uncle has boarded the train and is on his way. She turned around the car. They started their journey back to Barari and reached Barari almost when the dawn was there. The three of them rested for a few times, and Shishir started his journey early in the morning towards Calcutta, bidding goodbye to his brother and sister-in-law. The onward journey started again. Shishir was in no hurry. He was just casually driving his car in a medium speed. In a place around Burdwan, he stopped the car the roadside, ate the food which his sister-in-law has packed for him. My auntie was a very good cook, and she used to make very good snacks. So there were delicious snacks. She had it on his way and started towards Calcutta. Now, particularly as he was driving pretty slowly and approaching Kolkata around a little in the evening time or afternoon time, she reached Kolkata. The car entered one Woodman Park. Now, I must say one thing. Some people had cooked up a story later on regarding the journey from Road to Gomo. The story went on like this, that there was a tall gentleman in the appearance of a Pathan youth, was waiting at the Gomo railway station and had boarded the Delhi Kalka mail along with Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, this is a clear gossip. There's no truth in the story because the onward journey from Gomo was decided on that very evening at the bungalow of Dr. Ashok Nath Bose. So there is no way that a Pathan would wait for Subhash Chandra Bose at Gomo station. If he had been waiting, he could have waited at Asansol, which was previously planned. But in Gomo, no way. So this is all gossip. I will request the viewers not to hear in this cock and bull story, not to pay heed. Now, this particular oath of secrecy of the three people was so accurate that later on, the British could know about the long drive. Even while Shishir Kumar was in Lahore jail and later on in Lalpur jail, the British intelligence, by cross-examining, has asked, "Well, Mr. Bose, how was the beautiful long drive?" Shishir, as usually, he was acting in an innocent way. "What drive do you mean?" "Oh, you won't tell us. We will make you speak." What said you trying? They had known from some other source by doing a back calculation that I will say later. But the British intelligence could not found out the place where Subhash Chandra Bose had stayed for the full day of 17 January. This was only because of the oath of secrecy between those members of the family, 8 members of the family, who knew about the Great Escape. Now, this is something we should learn also. The oath of secrecy. And as Dr. Bose or Dr. Shishir Bose entered the car, Wanderer car entered with him at around some evening time there. And here, I must say one thing, that in Woodman Park also only 2 people knew, other than Dr. Shishir Kumar, Sarat Chandra Bose and Bibhavati Bose. Okay, so the onward journey started, and particularly around 4 o'clock when the car arrived at One Woodman Park, Shishir gave the charge of the car to the chauffeur or the driver, went straight to the first floor of One Woodman Park and reported the same thing in the bedroom of his father, Sarat Chandra Bose. Nobody else was present there. Sarat Chandra Bose listened to the entire episode very patiently and told Shishir that you go and rest for a while, because on that particular day, there was a marriage of the granddaughter of Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das. The entire Bose family was invited. Sarat Bose told Shishir, it is better you should accompany me. Because if you as a family member do not go to the party, I know you are very tired. You didn't have a proper sleep for 2 nights. But still you must go, because I do not want to raise any question should be raised. Why Shishir is not absent? If he is unwell, what has happened to him? No questions. So Shishir Kumar in his memoirs, he wrote that instead of the all odds, I had to go to the marriage party, mix up with people there, have my dinner and come back. And probably after 2 days night, I had a very peaceful sleep. Okay, this is up to the voyage. Next day I will come is there waiting for a messenger. A messenger comes, gives the news, and then one by one, the arrests in the Bose family.
Started.
4 arrests in total. First Dijendranath Bose, then Aurobindo Bose, then Sarat Chandra Bose, and lastly Shishir Kumar Bose. I will narrate that in my next episode. Because after Gomo, it will be very difficult. I know very little. So
absolutely,
that I can say after I consult. I have some papers of Mia Akbar Shah and other people who had been there. Okay, and so I will tell you in a nutshell, but I cannot explain the way I have explained here. Up to Gomo, and after that, the jail terms of the 4 members of the family, and how the intelligence were going behind Ila Bose. That I will explain in my later.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We meet again. I believe our next meeting time will be 23rd of January, the auspicious day. And after that, we will continue with that. After 23rd January, we will continue with our usual episodes. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Once again, my heartfelt condolences to you. Only thing is, I wish that all the things go normal now. The Kriya Karma of your grandmother is done in a very unique and orderly way. Thank you so much. Good night, viewers. Good night, everybody.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.